Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Female Film Critics Panel. This is where we like to gather some of my friends, content creators, and critics, and we talk about film and our experiences. So much fun. This is a special episode where we are talking about the end of the year, our favorite films from 2021 that we saw. It's going to be so fun. I am film critic Rachel Wagner, and Louise is here.
Hi.
And Manda is here.
Hi.
Yay. Thank you both so much for coming on. And it's been a little while since either of you came on the show. So why don't you just introduce yourself real quick? What about you, Louisa?
Oh, hi. My name's Louisa. I write for Screen Zealots. Don't really have too much else to say. I'm really excited to get into this top 6 because I have a feeling we're all going to have different choices, and I cannot wait to talk about it. So
yeah,
thanks
it was
for having
tough.
me back again. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And Manda, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, well, I'm an entertainment journalist and film critic. You guys can always find me over at AMX NDA Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. You can check out my website, candidxcinema.com. And I'm also an editor over at geekbomb.net, so you can check that out. And this has been the toughest year to make a top 10 or a top 5 or like anything, because everything came out, everything was pushed to this year. So it's just been absolutely insane. So I'm excited to dive into this.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the year in general, how you both felt, because for me, it was, I was joking on Twitter the other day that it was like everyone worked through their COVID trauma by creating animated films and musicals.
Yeah.
And I've never felt more understood by the world.
It's true.
That is my jam. That is me. Rom-coms and musicals and animation. So it's tough, very tough. But yeah, I think it's been a really fun year of movies with lots of variety and lots of interesting stuff. And it's obviously been great to go back to the movies again.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious to see what your top 6 were. And if you're listening, make sure you put your top 6 in the comments. We want to hear what you think and which ones, if you haven't been able to see the screeners like we have, which ones you're looking forward to seeing. We want to hear that in the comments. And so let's just dive right in. Let's start. And did either of you have any honorable mentions that you particularly wanted to mention?
Ooh.
I know, tough question.
For me, I really enjoyed Shiva Baby. Because like everyone said that it's a 2020 movie technically, but the release date was 2021. So it's also really challenging sometimes to see when the release date is. But for me, like it was just like anxiety inducing, that movie, and it was just so engaging. And that's an honorable mention for me where like it was just so intense, and I fell in love with Rachel, and she was like, whoa, a powerhouse in that movie. So the story is great, and it was just something that stayed with me for a while when I watched it.
What about you, Lisa? Did you have an honorable mention?
It's something you and I were kind of talking about earlier, Rachel, is about there have been a lot of movies with themes this year where there are friendships that are just platonic. They never turn into romances. And 2 that almost made my list have that exact theme. It was Language Lessons, a little movie from Sundance, and then Compartment Number 6. I don't know if you guys have seen those. They were both really good. The same kind of thing, the need for connection. I think a lot of filmmakers are starting to tell those kind of personal stories like that after the horrible year we all had in 2020. Those are 2 I think that are totally worth checking out and very special in their own way.
Yeah. I haven't seen Language Lessons, but I have seen Compartment Number 6, so it's a good one. For me, honorable mention, I wasn't able to fit Encanto into my top 6, which is tough because I love that movie so much. And I also loved Dream Horse. I thought that was very just crowd pleasing, inspirational. In the Heights, Together. And my favorite blockbuster of the year was Free Guy. I thought was so funny, so charming, so romantic. I just really enjoyed it. So that would be some honorable mentions, but let's dive in. So my number 6, and I was actually just talking with Elise about this. I really debated whether to include it or not because it's technically not a full-length film, but the animated short Us Again. was
Oh.
probably the film that it moved me emotionally the most of anything that I saw in 2021. I actually think it hurt Raya and the Last Dragon a little bit, at least for me, which I think was a perfectly serviceable film,
Mhm.
because this was just so special, and I was crying the first time I saw it. This beautiful story about these people that are able to dance again and be young again, and the way that the choreography and the animation and the music, and I just loved it so much, and I was just sobbing. And then I go to watch Raya, and I'm like, that was good, but oh, that short was so good to me.
Mhm.
I absolutely loved it, and it was one of the best films that I saw in 2021.
Yeah, I teared up with that one too, so I feel you. I completely get that.
Yeah, if it doesn't win Best Animated Short, I
Has
will
to.
riot.
I'm right there with you. It has to, it has to.
It
Yeah.
was so good. It was so much better than the short before Encanto, which was just like, what is this? Why are we watching this?
That was really upsetting. That actually upset me. It made me feel really bad.
Oh,
It was
no.
weird. It was strange. I'm like, this is like a nature documentary. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was weird. But I just loved everything about the short. I thought it was perfect.
Yeah.
So what about you, Mana? What is your number 6?
I'm gonna have to go with Tick Tick Boom because like I went into this blind. I watched one trailer. I don't really know much about Jonathan Larson. Rent was never
Mhm.
something that was appealing to me. Um, and I never heard of the actual musical Tick Tick Boom until this movie. But like that opening song, 3090, absolutely destroyed my soul. Like I was weeping, and like I'm gonna be turning like 27 in next year, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm almost 30, and like everything that he was saying, like from a creative standpoint, it broke me and then put me back together again, and broke me and then put me back together again, and it's just like one of the most beautiful like in-person theater experiences that I've had this year. And like I cried straight through. God bless Andrew Garfield for like putting his heart and soul into this film. And Lin-Manuel Miranda I think did a fantastic job directing this and adding his own like style to it at like first time out. So like yeah, this movie destroyed me. That soundtrack has been on loop like every single day, and it's just there's so much heart, and I think that like sometimes that's what's lacking with these films that come out. And yeah, I absolutely loved it. It's
Mm.
perfect for me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming up higher on my list, so I'll have more to
Beautiful.
say.
Yeah. Good.
I love Tick Tick Boom
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah.
It's oh,
So
so good.
good.
Yeah. Louisa, what about you? Do you have Tick Tick Boom on your list, or where did
It's
you?
probably gonna be in the top 10. I was
Oh,
really
very
Okay.
impressed
good.
with Miranda's
Okay.
direction too, especially the scene in the swimming pool. I thought that was like
Yeah.
one of
So
my
cool.
favorite scenes of the entire year
Yeah.
in any movie. Really
Hmm.
cool. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay, well, he knows his stuff. He can do this. He can do this.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was really good. Yeah,
Yeah.
not on my
So,
top six though, but
so
close.
what is your number 6?
So anybody who reads me will probably know, and I don't think this is going to be a very popular choice, but I'm a big Wes Anderson fan. Poster back here. So it's The French Dispatch, and
Hmm.
Nice.
it 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 wasn't a great movie. It's one of the most Wes Anderson movies I've ever seen. So
Yeah.
I really like that. It's just kind of like I think I described it as like a hipster coffee table book, like a photography book. So I really like that. There's a lot going on in it. I've had to watch it a couple times, but that actually makes my number 6. It's super, avalanche of whimsy, I guess is the best way to describe it. But yeah, that was my favorite, my number 6 of the year.
What is your favorite of the short stories, of the sections?
Oh my gosh. I really liked, oh God, that's like hard to choose. I really liked the first one, like the one with Benicio del Toro
Oh,
in
okay.
prison. I thought that was
Mm,
Yeah.
amazing. But I
it's
know
good.
Yeah.
it's not a perfect movie, but it's just so cool to look at, and it's 100% Wes Anderson. So I
Mhm.
would not
Hmm.
be true to myself if I didn't put that in my top 6.
Yeah. Well, my number 5 is similarly true to myself. And a lot of people would dismiss this movie, but I absolutely loved the Christmas rom com Single All the Way. And a lot of people would not put this movie in your top 6, but it was one of the best romantic comedies I have seen in the last years. And I've seen a lot of romantic comedies. And it was so well done. The chemistry was off the charts between the two leads. It was so funny. I was laughing throughout when Jennifer Coolidge is the fairy godmother in the nativity. I thought it was so funny. And and I thought that Luke McFarlane was really great as the other guy. Like, you totally understood his perspective. He was super hot. And I was just, it was one of the most joyful movies I've seen in a long, long time. And so many of the LGBTQ narratives it's rooted in trauma, which is totally valid and understandable. But it was great to see a story that the family was so joyful and so happy for this couple and for their son / uncle / whatever. And they just wanted him to be happy so bad. And just the joyousness of that family. I just loved it. And I mean, I have rewatched, because I got the preview early. So I've watched that so many times. I loved this movie. I thought it was just perfect. It was so funny. It was so romantic. It was so well cast and just had like a beautiful spirit about it that I couldn't not have it on my list. It was one of my favorites.
I agree, like 100%. I felt so like there was just so much like, oh my god, so much love and just genuine like it's such a genuine family unit too in that movie. Like they just want the best for their son. It's like, oh, and I love that trope too, like the fake boyfriend and all of that. Like
Me too.
I just eat it all up. I'm like, this is perfect for me. I watched the trailer. I'm like, yeah, me have fake boyfriends. We're good to go. I was like, it's perfect. But yeah, I agree 100%.
Yes. All right. Yes. Have you gotten to see this one yet, Louisa?
I have, actually. Yeah, it's really fun. Yeah.
Yay! I'm so devastated that it has a Rotten Tomatoes score because
it does.
I don't know. I just like, people can like whatever they like. That's fine. But I don't know. I just feel like it's so well done. Like, I don't know. It just seems like you just don't like romantic comedies if you don't like this. I don't know. It's so
exactly.
And I mean, and to think that Happiest Season is fresh, and I liked some things about that movie, but like just comparing the families, where that movie, the family was so negative and it was just such a negative environment. And I don't know, maybe some people think that's braver or more edgy or something like this, but I think that Single All the Way is way better than Happiest Season.
This one has more of like a Christmas spirit. It's like, this is a feel good movie and it's going to put a smile on your face. I think that's like the big difference. Yeah.
Anyway, so Amanda, what is your number 5?
Oh, so I watched Coda at Sundance, and
it's so good.
That was the opening night film, and I was like, this is what they chose for opening night. I'm weeping in this last half hour. I was like, oh my god, like what am I gonna do for the rest of this festival? Like, so with this, what really got me first was like the deaf representation, like the sign language and everything, and having that strong family unit was really moving and emotional. And I love that we got to see everyone in their element, like even Marlee Matlin, and just giving a fantastic performance in that case. But for me, the one scene that really got me and made me bawl, because I'm a daddy's girl, so like that father-daughter connection, and when he like touches her throat, like in that one scene and she starts singing, like it is just the most beautiful thing that I've seen this year. And it has really stayed with me. So just the entire story, something that's so refreshing too with a storyline like that. It was just so beautiful and heartwarming, and one of the sweetest films that I was able to watch this year. And it's like, I loved it so much. So it's definitely top 6 for me. So
I'm glad one of us mentioned it, because it was on my short list, and I absolutely loved it. And I mean, you've got my guy from Sing Street, I love so much, as her boyfriend. That was fun.
Yeah.
And I liked that it wasn't a movie that was precious about people with disabilities. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
something like I
Very.
Am Sam, where they're like, it's almost like the disability makes the magic or something, which is
Yeah.
so grown worthy. I hate that.
Mhm.
They were like real people that I could relate
Mhm.
to. And I don't know, it was
Yeah.
very moving and lovely.
Yeah.
So that's a good pick. Very
Yeah.
good pick. Louisa, what about you?
It's also my number 5 pick, Coda.
Yeah, nice.
Yay!
Everything about it, and what I think, it's very heartwarming and crowd pleasing, but the
Mhm.
writing is
Yeah.
so frank and like honest and open, and I really love that. And having a cast of people that actually do speak
Mhm.
in sign language, I think that's I absolutely loved it. Everything you guys said about it, completely agree. Great movie. Everybody needs to see it.
Yeah.
It's special. It's really
Yeah.
special.
Well, my number 4 is actually documentary. It's The Summer of Soul. And I just can't believe that all these years, how much I've heard about Woodstock, and the same year this incredible festival was going on, and I had never heard about it in my life. It's just
Mhm.
crazy to me. And what an incredible documentary. I mean, the music alone is absolutely incredible. And I tell people, I'm like, even if you don't particularly like soul music, there's like so many different kinds of music. There's like rock and pop and gospel and
Mhm.
blues. There's so many different kinds of music in the documentary, and I felt like they had like a very good balance between like newer perspectives, like someone like Lin-Manuel, and different people talking about how, their experiences, but then also people that were there and sharing their
Mhm.
experiences, and then vintage clips, and of course then all the music, and you had people like Gladys Knight and other people like that, and I thought it was incredible. It was an incredible experience to watch. It was an incredible movie, and I just feel like a better person for having
Mhm.
watched it.
I
So
completely agree with you. It blew me away. It
yeah.
really did.
hmm So, which means it probably won't get nominated because the Academy is so ridiculous. The documentary branch is by far the most absurd branch of the Academy. They almost
Mhm.
always get it wrong. and but anyway, so Manda, what is your number 4?
So number 4 is very personal for me. I have to at least have one comic book movie in my
hmm
top 6. And for Zack Snyder's Justice League, I campaigned hard for that movie. And after everything Zack went through, it was actually like one of the first big screening opportunities that I've ever gotten in my life this year, and it just kept adding to like the emotional connection to like the fandom, and then to Zack Snyder and to the entire cast in this case. So even though it was 4 hours, and it was a tad bit long, I think that just having the final product after everything that he went through and dedicating it to his daughter, I think it was just really just an emotional journey with him and with the fan base, and it's up there for me where I enjoyed the hell out of it, even though it is 4 hours, but I loved every second of it, and I'm just happy that he was able to get his full vision, and just
hmm
finally out, and everyone can move on now, and then everyone can move on. I think that's the important thing. If he wanted to do more, sure, but if he doesn't, then like one done, this is it, and I'm just
Yeah.
really happy that we got it. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've not been a big fan of Zach's work, I must admit, but
Yeah.
I liked the Justice League.
Yeah.
It's obviously a little overstuffed, but
Mhm.
you watching it at home,
Yeah.
no big deal. Like I don't know, it just was more like
Pause,
and it,
snacks. Like,
and so
all that.
I gave it a positive review. I felt like
Awesome.
it did the job that it was supposed to do, and that's what
Yeah.
I look for in these when I look at movies.
Yeah.
When I go see Paw Patrol the movie, I'm not looking for the same things as when I go see Belfast. Like I
Yeah.
have different criteria.
Totally. No, you're absolutely
and,
right. Yeah.
I mean, anything can be done poorly or be done well,
Mhm.
but yeah, I thought that I enjoyed it. So
Awesome.
yeah, I can see why that's your pick for
Yeah.
sure. Lisa, what about you? What's your number 4?
My number 4 is going to be Licorice Pizza.
Ah,
Ooh.
Um,
yes.
there's something this year that's resonating with me about these sort of messy and imperfect movies, but they're just so charming. Like this movie is just filled with so much detail. It's all
Mm.
over the place. It meanders. It's but it's all the little things that just make it so memorable, and it made me feel so good and nostalgic, and like I was just wrapped in this warm blanket. Really liked it. I did not expect to, but I've got to put it on there for all those reasons.
Yeah. I enjoyed it too. It's not on my list, but I did enjoy it. I liked the stuff with her more than the stuff with him personally. I thought that her side was more interesting, and particularly I thought anything with with the councilman. I thought that was the best part
Oh
of the
yeah.
movie, in my
Yeah. That
opinion.
was great. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, my number three is one I don't know if you two have seen. It is an anime film that's not going to get distributed in the U.S. Completely until January, but it's called Belle, and it's by the great anime director Mamoru Hosoda. And I got to see the personal experience I had with the film definitely impacted my viewing, but I still think it's just genuinely a really good film. But I got to see it at Animationist Film Festival in October, and Hosada was there, and he introduced the
Awesome.
film, and he was talking about how Beauty and the Beast from Disney was so influential in inspiring him to become an animator. And so then we watched the film, and the whole theater was like packed. Every seat, everybody was just on the edge of our seats, so invested, so involved, and it had been very long time since maybe Endgame that I had been to a movie where there was that kind of audience investment,
Mm.
in the film. And so that all added to the experience for sure. But I just loved it so much. The animation is absolutely beautiful. The music is absolutely beautiful, and it's kind of a Beauty and the Beast meets The Matrix. It has a sci-fi kind of element to it, and
Yeah.
there's this
Yeah, it sounds cool.
other
Yeah.
dimension, this other world that she goes into, and she gets to be this kind of diva singer in the other world, and she's kind
Mhm.
of afraid to sing in the real world. Anyway, the music is absolutely beautiful, and it's a beautiful movie, and I loved the message, and it's all about, he loves talking about the way that we kind of communicate with each other. He has another movie called Summer Wars. He has Wolf Children. These
Mm.
really beautiful movies about relationships and our the way we interact in modern world. And this is definitely his masterpiece, I think. And I just
Wow.
absolutely loved it. I thought it was incredible.
I
So
love
Okay.
that.
yeah, it probably will get ignored by the Academy because they hate anime. But I loved it. So
That's a pretty strong endorsement, so I'm gonna go check
Yeah.
that one out. I have
yeah,
not seen that, but I want to now. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I think you'll really like it. It is a little long in the tooth. That's a valid critique, but it's just like you were saying with Justice League. I was so invested that it didn't
Yeah.
bother me that it was kind of
Yeah.
it was a little bit self-indulgent with the length. But Mondo, what is your number three?
So I'm going to another big franchise. It was my most anticipated, and I adore Denis Villeneuve. So it's Dune coming in at number three. I read the book during lockdown here, and I'm like, I have time to kill at home since I can't go anywhere. So I read 1,000 pages in like 3 months, and I got hooked. And then I absolutely adore Timothy Chalamet, so it was really cool to see him as Paul Atreides, and this cast is fantastic as well. So the score alone from Hans Zimmer, just I don't know what he did, but like the anxiety that I felt while watching this movie, and like I would get goosebumps. I've watched it 3 times now, and it's like the goosebumps that I got while watching this movie. The visuals are beautiful. You have this like massive scale with such, like, I personally think, like an intimate story that he adapted fairly well. It's always hard to adapt books of that length, like a series of books as well. So it's just, I know that book adaptations aren't the best, but I think he did it quite well, and I'm looking forward to part two. But Dune was just something that I didn't expect to love as much as I did reading it and now watching it. So it was a feast for me, visually, storytelling wise, like just everything about it really hit. And I did feel the runtime. I'm not going to say that it was like absolute perfection. It wasn't, like, I'm not saying that, but I did feel the runtime towards the end. But they did a great job, and it has stayed with me. And that score, my God, I really hope. And I know Johnny Greenwood has like it's the massive competition between Zimmer and Greenwood this year for like Spencer, even Power of the Dog, but Zimmer needs that second one, and I think that the Academy might give it to him for Dune. We'll see, because I thought it was extremely well done. So, yeah.
Yeah, because I did not enjoy the book of Dune, and
Right.
we read it for book club one year, and I just
Mhm.
about died. It was so boring to me. I
The
was like, nothing is
spice.
happening. They're just talking about spices so much. So I went into the movie with some hesitation, especially
Mhm.
knowing Villeneuve's kind of style.
Mhm.
That he tends to like sort of more slow paced. I'm like,
Yeah.
man, that's going to be a combo. But I have to say, I did end up enjoying it.
Yay.
I don't think that you could make Dune better. I think this is as good as you could make the story. And
Yes.
so, like, people, I don't know, like, talk about what are you trying to be and did you do it? They did it. Like, if people say, oh, well, there wasn't enough character development, there is no character development in the like you can't make them characters that they're not.
Exactly.
Like, that's who they are in the
Yeah.
story. And so if you have, honestly, I feel like if you have fault with Dune, it's just not for you. You're just not a Dune person, and that's totally
Yeah.
valid.
Yeah.
Because that's the story. The story is about talking about spices and and diplomacy and
Yep.
what it is to lead
Mhm.
and to lead people.
Yeah.
And so, yeah,
I
that's
need
how
a
I feel.
T-shirt that says "I'm a Dune person" now. Like, that's
Yes. Oh my God, do it. I would buy
Add it
it
to the
all.
merch store immediately.
Yes. That'd be perfect.
Louisa, what is your number 3?
So my number 3 is Belfast.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved everything about this movie
Yeah.
from like the opening frame. It is absolutely gorgeous to look at, just beautifully directed. The characters are wonderful. I know it's semi-autobiographical.
Mm.
Everything about this movie, just I loved it. I could watch it over and over and over again. I don't know. What did you guys think of that one? I'm always curious.
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very sweet. I think that Jamie Dornan and Katrina Balfe, I believe is her name.
Mm.
I think that they might be my picks for best actor and actress.
Yep.
That are in the Denzel Washington and Frances McDormand in Macbeth. I think those were the sets of performances that I think were the best. And they did a very good job. And of course all the nostalgia. I did a video on my channel about comparing Belfast to Cinema Paradiso, and I think the two are actually extremely similar about how cinema and growing up and your experiences and how it kind of narrates your life, the films you see, and so I thought it was very sweet. I think that I have little nitpicks here and there. Like, I don't think that if your child, if there was this chaotic looting scene, that you would pick that moment to take him back to return the item.
Yeah.
Like, you wouldn't want to go back into the dangerous situation. Like, I think you'd wait and then do it later. Like, that didn't feel, there were a couple of things like that where I was like, I don't feel like that's with this character and their choice. But I still overall really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Mm.
And also the other thing I had with that movie is that I just felt like, even though I really enjoyed the songs, they didn't seem very Irish to me. So it was I thought the music was a little weird.
Yeah. Van Morrison is from Belfast, though. He's like Belfast born. I did not know that either until I looked it up. So
it's like research everything afterwards.
I don't know. I guess you just maybe that's my own biases, but you just expect a certain type of Danny Boy like music in an Irish story, which is probably not right on my part. But I don't know. The music took me out of the movie a few times.
It's so good. Everybody watch it anyway. It's really good.
I love it so much. I do.
Yeah, it was very sweet. Yeah. That little boy, adorable.
He's great.
Fantastic.
Yeah, adorable.
I love him.
Yeah, I'm glad one of us picked it because it was really good.
Yeah.
Well, my number 2 was my number 1 for a long time.
Ooh.
And It's The Mitchells versus the Machines.
So good.
I absolutely loved this movie so much. I interviewed the director. I liked it so much. I wanted to talk to him, Mike Rianda. I love the animation, the like the little details that are hidden in, especially in her movies that she makes, are so great, and just the family dynamic. I think anybody that's from like a big family can really relate to the experiences. I loved all the characters. I loved her dad. I loved her mom. I loved Aaron. It was so sweet. Her brother and their relationship was so sweet. I thought it was really funny. I thought it was really heartfelt. I thought it had like sci-fi elements that were well done. I don't know. I just had very little flaws with it. And I've seen it many times. I've seen it more than any other film this year because I keep wanting to show it to people. So I've watched it with my nieces. I've watched it with my parents. I watched it with, I got to see it on the big screen at Animations Film, and that was incredible. And hear from Phil Lord was there talking about it, and that was incredible. That's a great festival. Even if you like aren't the biggest animation person, like it was so well done and well executed and great. It is in October. I will definitely be going every year from now on. It was fabulous. But I just loved Mitchell's vs. Machines. I thought it was incredible. So it's my number 2.
It's so good. It really surprised me this year. I didn't expect to love it as much as I did too. So yeah. You're lucky you saw it on the big screen.
I totally expected that.
Yeah.
I expected that to be on your list, Rachel. I did. Last night I'm like, I know she's gonna talk about that movie. That did not surprise me at all.
Right. I've only been talking about it all year. So I wish everybody could have seen it on the big screen. That's too bad that it got the. But Louisa, what's your number 2?
So I'm going really dark with my top 2. I feel like I had all these kind of like happy, crowd pleasing, kind of feel good movies in a way. But my number 2 is extremely dark, very violent, very gory, Nightmare Alley. I don't know if you have had the chance to see that yet. It is just amazing. I guess, gosh, I don't even know how many years ago it was now that The Shape of Water was my favorite movie. So huge fan of the director. It's everything about this is just, it's fantastic. The casting, the acting, the costumes are unbelievable. Like there's just, again, so much detail, so much richness to the story. Highly recommend it. Very, very dark. Again, very, very violent, but easily one of the best movies I've seen in a long, long time.
Oh man, I missed the screening. I was so sad last because of just everything I have to do for my podcast. I didn't make it, but I look forward to seeing it.
Yeah, I'm excited too. Yeah.
Well, all right. This is the big one. The number 1, you probably figured it out because I said I was going to mention it. My number 1 is Tick, Tick, Boom. My number 1. I absolutely loved this movie. I related to it so much as somebody who's a creator who's trying to do something with my life that may not make sense to other people. Just Jonathan's desire to make something and make the world better through what he's created, and was just I related to it so much, and it was so beautiful, and like I loved the fact that they allowed him to be a little bit of a narcissist, like be a little, but that felt very real to me because I think that's true with creators in general. But there was always that good person that would win out in the end, and his relationship with Alexander Shipp, his relationship with Robin De Jesus, who was so good as well as his best friend. I was so moved by that relationship and that story, and him dealing with the fact that like this disease is taking so many of his friends. Felt so relevant, of course, now. I mean, I'm lucky that I haven't had anybody that's died of COVID in my life, but it's just sort of part of the atmosphere that we're in. And so I connected with it on that level. I loved all of the songs that were so great. Like you were saying about 30, Happy Birthday, 30. That was great. I had the therapy song was so good. I loved that. I thought that Vanessa Hudgens slayed it with Come to Your Senses. Unbelievable. Yeah. I was bawling. It was so funny. Netflix made us go through all of these hoops in order to go to the screening.
Mhm.
We had to have in the theater. We had to have a COVID test and a vaccination card and a anyway. Get there, and it's
Oh,
me
man.
and my friend Patrick. That's it in the theater.
Oh my
We're the
god.
only critics there. I'm like, I'm glad we went through all that. Anyway, it was pretty funny, but it's one of those movies that I just stayed in my seat for quite a while, and they're like
Yep.
getting ready to clean and everything, and I'm just kind of like trying to absorb this experience because it was so beautiful, and I loved the way that they did it with taking Tick Tick Boom and Jonathan's life and morphing them
Mhm.
together in
Yeah.
this way. And I mean, Sunday brunch scene was so great, and I'm like looking
Yeah.
at all. Oh, that's the Hamilton girls, and that's Bernadette Peters, and that's
Yeah.
oh, it was so fun. That's the guy from Hadestown, And, as a Broadway nerd, I was really
Yeah.
excited about that, and I just loved it. I loved everything about it. I thought it was chef's kiss to Tick
Yes.
Tick Boom.
Yes.
Yep.
So that's my number one. Mana, what is your number one?
So my number one is Belfast. I didn't want to give it away before, but yeah,
Ah!
Belfast, like I don't know what it was, but it just hit me in the feels, and it's just the fact that like I think it's because of like even Ciarán Hinds and Judi Dench, they gave great performances as the grandparents, and it's just the fact that like they built such a beautiful life there on that one strip, and they tried their hardest to make ends meet and tried to make a life for their children as well, and you just see the generational pull and the struggles and all of that, but at the same time as like we see Jude Hill, who's an absolute doll. He's looking
So
at,
cute.
yeah, he's like watching Star Trek on television, and he's going to the theater and watching like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang and like all of that and experiencing these films for the first time. And like I think while watching it, I felt how personal it was for Kenneth Branagh, and I think that's just such a beautiful thing to like for him to even express his own life on screen in the way he did, like right down to a Thor comic book, which really got me, and I didn't expect
Yeah.
to like start crying over that. I'm like, oh my god, he was reading Thor as a kid, and then he made the movie, and I'm just like, it was just such a great moment. It was beautifully shot. All of those moments in the cinema, like the way he captured just the beauty and the magic that we all love and feel on screen through Jude Hill's eyes. Like it was just such a beautiful moment for me multiple times that they went. But it was fun. It was also like emotional at the same time. And yeah, it's like my favorite movie of the year. I didn't expect to love it as much as I did. And so I love Belfast. And thanks, Kenneth Branagh. You're a gem.
Like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
we all love it.
I don't know who couldn't relate to that movie. Like, I just feel like
Right?
anybody can relate to at
Yeah.
least one of the characters or one of the
Oh, yeah.
parts of
Yeah.
the movie.
Yeah.
Certainly, it feels like it's made for cinephiles.
Yeah.
The minute I saw it, I'm like, this is going to win Best Picture. I mean,
Yeah,
I will
agreed.
be
That
shocked if
same.
that does not win Best Picture because I mean,
Yeah.
it has everything,
Yeah.
everything. It's
Yeah.
funny too. It's actually unexpectedly funny. So I'm really
Yeah.
glad
Yeah.
that was your number one choice.
Yeah. I'm happy you made your list too. So that was perfect.
It might be
Yeah.
on my short list.
Yeah.
I really did enjoy it.
Yeah.
So, all right, Lisa, what is your number
Oh
one?
my gosh, I'm ending this on a bummer. I feel so bad. My favorite movie still resonates with me. I absolutely love it. Love the lead performance is Pig with Nicolas
Nice.
Cage. It's so sad but so meaningful. I mean, it just punched me in the gut when I saw it. And you talk about just sitting in a theater after a movie. I was like, oh my gosh, one of the first ones I saw, I think, after I returned to theaters after COVID. It There's just something about it, I mean, it does have a pig napping, but there's so much more to it. And his performance is by far my favorite of the entire year. One of the best things Nicolas Cage has ever done. I know you guys have seen it, so
Yeah,
curious.
so I put it off because I just felt like for some reason that I wasn't gonna like it, and I didn't want to be the spoil sport. So I put it off. Finally, for awards time, I watched it, and I actually really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it
So I
surprised
couldn't have put it
me.
off.
Yeah, it surprised me. So
Yeah, I mean, it's actually kind of a love story between this man and his pig.
It's also
very
such
sad. It's very sad.
Yeah, and it's a fresh story.
God.
Like, I didn't know about the underground ring with all of that. Like, I didn't know any of that. So I was like, this is something new and interesting. And they made it so emotional. Like, what?
Yeah. No, they did.
Yeah.
It was good. And I agree. Definitely one of the best performances of the year.
Yeah.
Him and Andrew Garfield would be would be battling it out for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very tough.
For sure.
So I approve of your choice.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
So let's go over our picks once again. So for me, I have Us Again at 6. I have Single All the Way at 5. I have Summer of Soul at 4. Belle at 3. The Mitchells vs. the Machines at 2. And Tick Tick Boom at 1. What are you, Amanda?
So I have Tick Tick Boom at 6, Coda at 5, Zack Snyder's Justice League at 4, Dune at 3, Judas and the Black Messiah at 2, and then Belfast at 1.
Oh, did we skip you for 2?
I don't know if maybe.
I don't remember you talking about Judas.
Anyways, I really love Judas and the Black Messiah from earlier, like this year. I know it's like early on, but I really loved it. And Daniel Kaluuya, God bless him. I really love the style of the film too. So that's like
he deserved that Oscar.
He really did.
I think we did say that. I don't remember you talking about that. Yeah, no.
It's okay.
Yeah,
it's all
sorry.
Good. No, don't apologize. I just did a little quick version. Daniel Kaluuya is a king. So there you go. Yeah.
That's a good pick.
All right, Louisa, what's yours?
Okay, I have to go back to my list. Like, this is so bad. Number 6 is The French Dispatch. Number 5 is Coda. Number 4, Licorice Pizza. Number 3, Belfast. Number 2, Nightmare Alley. And number 1 is Pig.
Very good. Very good. Well, thank you so much to both of you. This was really fun to get to do. I really enjoyed it. We didn't have that much overlap, which is, I think, shows the year that it's been.
Yeah.
For sure. So
very much so.
Let us know if you're listening what your picks would be and what you think of our picks. If you're outraged, put it in the comments. But make sure, please like this video. Please subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it. If you're listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. Appreciate that so much. And Manda, where can people find you?
Yeah, well, this was an absolute blast. This is the first time that I've actually like condensed my list and actually looked at it to see where I can place them. So thank you. You guys can always find me over at AMX NDA Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. And you can check out my website, candidxcinema.com.
Great. And Louisa, what about you?
And you can find me all over social media and the internet at screenzealots.com. And thanks again for having me, Rachel. I wore my ugly sweater for you today, just for you. So if you hear jingling, that's totally me.
There you go. Yes, thank you very much. And and thanks. It was such a great discussion. I really enjoyed it, and we'll look forward to more female film critics panels coming up next year. And hope you all have a great Christmas, and we'll talk to y'all later. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Merry Christmas.
Merry
Thanks,
Christmas.
Rachel.